Hello friends, I am Sahil Wagmare, a mechanical student of PPKBIT Baramati, presenting before you the lubrication systems in IC engine. So what are the lubrication system? Lubrication is essentially required for proper maintenance. It is defined as supply of lubricating oil between moving parts. Objectives. Its objectives are to reduce friction, reduce wear, acts as a cooling medium, keep engine parts clean, absorb shocks, to form good seal between piston rings and walls, to prevent deposition of carbon and metallic components, to resist oxidation. Properties of lubricants: viscosity, flash point, fire point, oiliness, corrosion, pour point, color, sulfur content, specific gravity, neutralization number, adhesiveness. SAE number. SAE means SAE means Society of Automotive Engineer have recommended some viscosity numbers for lubricating oils. There are different viscosity numbers for different temperature ranges. For winter use, it is 5W, 10W, 20W, and for normal use, it is 20, 30, and 40. This figure shows the various grades of lubricating oil according to SAE. Types of lubricants. There are three types. First, solid, that is graphite, mica, and soapstone. Second, semi-solid, that is grease. And third, that is liquid, mineral, vegetable, and animal oils. Lubricating parts of engine. There are some lubricating parts in engine. They are main crankshaft bearing, big end bearings, small end bearings, camshaft bearings, piston rings, and cylinder walls, timing gears, valve mechanisms. Parts involved in lubrication system are oil sump, oil pump, pickup screen, pressure regulator, oil filter, bypass valve, oil galleries, dipsticks, pressure indicator. So oil sump. It is the lowest part of crank chamber, provides a covering for crankshaft and contains oil in it. It is also known as oil pan. It is made of steel pressings and also by aluminum or cast iron. It contains drain plug at its lowest part to drain out the oil. Oil pump, located inside the crankcase. Function is to supply oil under pressure to various engine parts to be lubricated. There are four types such as gear pump, rotor pump, plunger pump, vane pump. Oil cooler. To cool the lubricating oil in heavy duty engines, it is just like a simple heat exchanger. Oil is cooled either by cold water from radiator or by air stream. Water type cooler are most commonly used because they act as reversible cooler. Oil filter. Its function is to filter out the dirt material from the oil. There are two types of this system. First is bypass system and second full flow system. We can see the diagram of these systems here. Oil strainer. It is simply a wire mesh screen. It is attached to the inlet of oil pump and retains dirt present in the oil. Usually a floating strainer is installed. Second, oil pressure gauge. It is a device used to indicate oil pressure in the engine. Oil level indicator. The level of oil in the crankcase is checked by dipstick. To check the level, the long stick is dipped into the crankcase and taken out. Lubrication systems. There are three types of lubrication systems. First is mist lubrication. Second is wet sump lubrication system. Third, dry sump lubrication system. Mist lubrication system is used for 2-stroke engines, while remaining two are used for 4-stroke engines. Petrol or mist lubrication system. In 2-stroke engines, the charge is compressed in crankcase and such it is not suitable to have lubricating oil in the sump. Lubrication oil is mixed with fuel, the usual ratio being 3 to 6%. Oil and fuel mixture is inducted through the carburetor. Fuel is vaporized and oil in the form of mist goes via crankcase into the cylinder. The oil which strikes the crankcase wall lubricates main and connecting rod bearings, and the rest of oil lubricate piston rings, and the cylinder. Its advantages are simplicity and low cost, as it does not require any oil pump, filter, etc. Disadvantages: causes heavy exhaust smoke due to burning of lubricating oil, forms deposit on piston crown and exhaust port which affect engine efficiency, requires a thorough mixing for effective lubrication. This requires either separate mixing prior to use or use of some additive to give oil good mixing characteristics. Wet sump lubrication system. In wet sump lubrication system, the bottom of the crankcase contains oil that serves as an oil supply reservoir. Oil dripping from the cylinders and bearing flows by gravity back into the wet sump, where it is picked up by the pump and recirculated through the engine lubricating system. The types of wet sump systems are the splash lubricating system, flash and pressure system, pressure feed system. Here we can see the diagram of wet sump lubrication system. Flash system. Used in light duty slow speed engines, lubricating oil is stored at the bottom of engine crankcase and maintained at predetermined level. The oil is drawn by the pump and delivered through a distributing pipe into the splash located under big end of connecting rod. These throughs are provided with overflows and oil in the through is therefore kept at constant level. A splasher or a dipper is provided under each connecting rod cap which dips into the oil in the through at every revolution of crankshaft, and the oil is splashed all over the interior of crankcase, into the pistons and onto the exposed portion of cylinder walls. The oil dripping from cylinder is collected in the sump where it is cooled by air flowing grounded. This is the diagram of splash and circulating pump system. Splash and pressure lubrication system. This system is shown in the figure below, where the lubricating oil is supplied under pressure to main and camshaft bearings. Oil is also supplied under pressure to the pipe which directs a stream of oil against the dipper on the big end of connecting rods, bearing cups. Thus, the crank pin bearings are lubricated by flash or spray of oil thrown up by the dipper. The pressure feed system. Pressure feed system is illustrated as below in the diagram, in which oil is drawn in from the sump and forced to all main bearings of the crankshaft during distribution through the distribution channels. A pressure relief valve will also be fitted near the delivery point of the pump, which opens when pressure in the system attains predetermined value. A oil hole is drilled in the crankshaft from the center of each crank pin to the center of adjacent main general, through which oil can pass from the main bearings to the crank pin bearings. From crank pin, it reaches piston pins bearing through a hole drill in connecting rod. The cylinder walls, piston rings are lubricated by oil spray from around the piston pins and the main and connecting rod bearings. This is the diagram of pressure feed system. Then, dry sump lubrication system. In dry sump lubrication system, the supply of oil is carried in an external tank. An oil pump draws oil from the supply tank and circulates it under pressure to various bearings and engine. Oil dripping from the cylinders and bearings into the sump is removed by scavenging pump, which in turn the oil is passed through a filter is fed back to the supply tank. Thus, oil is prevented from accumulating in the base of the engine. The capacity of scavenging pump is always greater than oil pump. In this system, a filter with bypass valve placed in between the scavenging pump and the supply tank. If filter is closed, the pressure relief valve opens, permitting oil to bypass the filter and reaches the supply tank. This is the diagram of dry sump lubricating system. Engine lubricating troubles. There are some troubles. It may be due to the failure of oil pumps, caused oil lines, and oil passages, contaminated oil. Maintenance of lubrication system. Maintaining proper level of oil. Then choose proper grade of oil, and by keeping breather clean in the sump. Here are some of the lubricating companies producing lubricants. They are first India Oil Corporation Limited, that is Servo Lubricants. Second, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, that is Mac Lubricants. Third, Castrol India Limited. Fourth, Shell India Market Private Limited. Fifth, Gulf Lubricants. 6. Valvoline Cummins Limited. 7. Exxon Mobil Lubricants Private Limited. 8. GS Caltex India Private Limited. 9th, ELF India. 10th, Tidewater Oil Corporation India Limited. With this I conclude. Thank you, friends.